So, Dr. Cho, what about stress? We know that this is a very stressful time, and stress can affect one's health and suppress our immune system. So, what advice can you give us at this time?
So the CDC has some guidelines on their website regarding stress and anxiety during time of COVID-19. So they give some really good recommendations. Number one is they recommend that we limit the time that we watch or take breaks from the time we're watching the news. So if we're constantly listening to the 24-hour news cycle, it's always COVID-19, it can be very stressful. So they recommend taking some breaks between that. Also, they recommend practicing good lifestyle habits. So we know that, for example, exercise is very good for stress and anxiety, right? And even though there's the social distancing recommendation, you can still go out for walks and do things on your own to stay active, right?
Get out in the fresh air.
Get out in fresh air, yeah. Sunlight is very good, getting out, and also good nutrition as well, and getting adequate sleep. Sleep is very good for dealing with stress, right? Other things that they recommend is trying to do activities that you enjoy, right? So, I mean, there's some limitations right now, obviously, but there's still stuff that we enjoy doing. They recommend that we do those things. So some of those things is a way that we could deal with the stress during this time.
Maybe a hobby, someone might like painting,
That's
or even
right,
reading, or knitting, or crocheting, or
Exactly.
So that makes sense.
And another one is they recommend that we get accurate news. So right now with the COVID-19, there's a lot of theories out there, and some of it could be very inaccurate.
Yes.
And it could really make us anxious more than it really needs to.
Right.
Yeah. So making sure that we're getting good information from like the CDC website, the World Health Organization website. These things are really important as well. Yeah.
So feeling socially isolated, I guess that could cause people to even feel more anxiety. Should we have connections with one another? They talk about social distancing. How do we balance that?
The CDC does recommend that we talk to somebody, right? And even though right now it might not be face to face, but because of technology, we can call somebody, we could do video conferencing, things like that. But definitely reach out to people is going to be important during this time.
And also, this is a very uncertain time because people don't know what the future is going to bring. We don't know what tomorrow is going to look like.
Right.
We don't know if grocery shelves are going to be restocked. We might be obsessing about getting certain things. And so what's your advice for that?
Well, it's true. There's so many uncertainties. In fact, this is called a novel coronavirus. It's new. There's a lot of things we don't even know about the virus itself, right? So I think this is why I think faith is very important during this time. So we're all people of faith, and knowing that there's a God who knows the future, who can take care of his children, I think that's really, really important. So in uncertainties, we need someone to lean on, and ultimately I think that person is the Lord.
So Dr. Cho, would you have a Bible verse, something from God's Word to suggest to us to help us to be encouraged and to be at peace?
Yeah, so there's a great verse here in the book of Philippians chapter 4, and it says, be careful for nothing, or in some translation it says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God.
So our viewers can put their hope in God to take
right.
their burdens, their worries, their stress, whatever they're worried about. Maybe it's financial worries, maybe it's family worries, maybe worries of getting the virus. Take that to God, and He will give you peace. So I'm thinking about people who are stuck inside, and I guess cabin fever can kick in, and you start going a bit stir crazy, and you're just like, wow, is there anything positive to think about? And like you said, we shouldn't be watching the news too much because that can just get us so overwhelmed. So I thought of asking people a question, and here's the question. So what are the positive sides of this for you? To be stuck inside, to not be able to go to work or to school. So what would be a positive side of the quarantine? So I'm going to start with you, Renee. What would be a positive thing for you about this?
Well, we haven't really stopped going to work.
Correct.
But it's nice traveling because there's fewer cars on the road.
Correct.
And so that is nice. Also, it's been so nice to be home with the girls and just to eat meals together and to play games and to do things together as a family. And for those of you that are Marthas out there, it's nice now to find time to do some spring cleaning as well.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So for myself, I guess what I like is that things are quieter.
Yeah.
When we go home, it's quieter on the road. There's not so much traffic, but it's also quieter when we go for a walk. And people are more somber, more sober, and they're thinking more, there's spiritual conversations happening. People are thinking about eternal realities. What if, the worst comes to the worst? Can I get help from God, right? So those kinds of conversations are happening right now. I like the fact that we do spend time as a family more together and having meals and being able to connect with one another. So that's an important thing.
And what about you, Dr. Cho? What's this new normal like for you with this quarantine?
Well, so same with you folks. So spending time with my wife. So we have a lot more time with her, eating together, and also being able to read. I think as a doctor, you want to kind of stay up on the science and stuff like that. So when you're not seeing patients, you have more time to kind of stay up on that, and also just spending time more in devotional life, reading the Word and prayer, things like that. So those are some of the things that, I guess, some of the positives that you can get out of this situation.
Right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. So we asked some of our friends to come in to the studio and to give some answers to that question. What do you like about what you're experiencing now, this new normal, this quarantine, not being able to go to work or to school? Is there something that's good about it for you? And so take a look at this.
I like staying home because I'm an introvert, and so it really charges my batteries, and I also get a chance to do spring cleaning and clean up that closet that I haven't gotten to in a couple months, so I really enjoyed that.
What I like about staying at home is that I can watch TV and wake up late, and my mom said I have to say I like reading books.
What I like about being quarantined is that we can stay home with our family and we can watch movies, and we have a break from school, so that's really nice. And I heard that the pollution rates are going down, so I think that's really good for our world.
What I like about this quarantine is that it really gives me a lot of time to think and self-reflect, where a lot of times when life is super busy, that tends to go in the back burner. But now I have a lot more time to be able to do that and really take a moment and enjoy the silence.
What I like about this time is that I'm able to spend more time with my family, even though I still do some work from home and I come in every now and then in the office. I like the fact that I can do special projects with the kids, and we're doing a little construction project now. I take more walks with my wife, so building up the health aspect. And also it's given me a chance to call people that I haven't called for a long time, catching up those phone calls that I really needed. But above all, it gives me time that I can spend more with God and in His Word, just recharge those spiritual batteries, things that we should have done a long time ago. So that's a blessing for me.